For so long, I would set goals and then the year would end and I've done nothing. Not that I didn't want it enough, but the plans would stay on paper. This book that I'm sharing with you is about execution. And the reason why I picked it up is because something was not clicking in my head. I knew what to do, I was making the plans, but execution was my struggle. If this is a place you find yourself in, let's jump into today's episode. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Gabriela, and on this channel, the Personal Finance and Coffee Podcast, we talk about how can you manage your money so that you reduce the stress and anxiety that you have around it. In today's episode, I'm having a book review, and the book is The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Now, the reason why I'm having a book review about a book that is not necessarily about money, like directly, is because when it comes to personal finance, and when you read a number of books after a while, they are repeating the same things. Let's be honest. It's either about budgeting, reducing your debt, investing, side hustles. You get what I'm saying? And for a while I read those books, but I kept struggling. I had the theory, but the application was a struggle. So I started to read books that are not necessarily directly about money. This book starts off with a phrase that really explains why I actually read it and why I'm sharing with you. He says that a frustration that is shared by everyone is when they describe sitting in the office at the end of the day, head spinning and wondering, what did I do today? You know you're working hard, but at the end of the day, it seemed like nothing was really accomplished. So his first discipline that he talks about is to have a wildly important goal. We always set goals. Beginning of the year, I want to lose weight, start a business, read more books, drink more water, all those things. Better family time, we have a long list. But what he's saying here is, when you're asking yourself, don't ask yourself, what is the most important that I want to work on? Because when we say what's most important, our mind goes to the high level thinking, this is what I need to be doing, this is what I should be doing. They're more of high level and vague, But what he's saying is, in which area do you want to have a breakthrough? This is what he explains, that it's different, important, not that the rest are not important, but the question of what area do you want to have the biggest breakthrough? If you achieve this goal, it will affect your life. It will be a big difference to choose that goal. So he recommends not having so many. You can have maybe 2. Just pick a few. If you have one, focus on it. The next discipline, the second discipline, is to focus on the lead measures. So he explains that there are lag measures and there are lead measures. So he says that a lag measure is the measurement of a result you're trying to achieve. So for example, you'd find that if you want to lose weight and you say, I want to weigh maybe 75 kgs, that target weight, guys, I think I'm using myself here, let's be honest. But if your lag measure is to lose weight to the point of 75 kgs, the way you measure if you've achieved that goal is stepping on the weighing scale, and those are the kgs. That's the example I can give. That is what a lag measure is. So whatever your goal is, if your goal is to earn more money, the amount of money you want to earn, that is your lag measure. And whichever area, that's how you measure it. Now, what are the lead measures? Now, lead measures are different. They foretell the result. And lead measures must have 2 characteristics. A lead measure is predictive, meaning that based on the lead measure, it will tell you the direction you're heading. And the second one is that the lead measure needs to be influenceable by you. Now, when it comes to the lag measure, you will know at the end when it has happened. It lags, You will say, we're in July. Come December, I want to weigh this much. Between July and December, you won't know if you can only check your weight. And there's no action towards it. So in this discipline, he says that focus on the lead measures. Focus on the actions that are influenceable by you. Saying that, for example, you want to have a side hustle that earns more income, you do not influence whether a person pays you money, whether they buy. You will go out and pitch for business. So what you influence is how many people you talk to. What you influence is the products that you're getting, identifying products, like the actions that you take. For example, YouTube. I'm here on YouTube. The lag measure. For example, I'm here on YouTube. I make videos each week. My lag measure would be to get monetized, to have 500 subscribers, to have 3,000 watch hours. But the lead measure in this case is what I have influence on and what will predict the direction that I'm taking. So if me putting up a video each week, me preparing for these videos, creating content, learning about YouTube and how it works, how to make better videos, all those are the lead measures that are leading me in that direction of the lag measure. So the point is, find the lead measures. So you might be asking yourself, how do I find the lead measures? He explains that find a person who has done what you're trying to do. It could be online, a person who has content about it, or it could be everyday life. Someone has a thriving agriculture business, and perhaps they can tell you what they did, and that's how you get to have ideas. So the process of finding the lead measures, you first brainstorm. Then you pick something you've not tried before. Because he explains, if you're trying to achieve something that you've never achieved before, you have to do something you've not done before. That means even your lead measures will have to be different. Because if what you've been doing is not getting you to where you want to go, something has to change. That's the second discipline. Now, the third and second last discipline that he talks about is to keep a compelling scoreboard. What he means is that at any one point, you need to know how close are you towards your goal. Imagine a football match. If people were playing and no one knew how many goals has one team scored, or how many goals has another team scored, it doesn't become as interesting anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, the whole point of watching Arsenal and Man U is because we know who is winning, and that tension is because we're keeping score. So and it's simple. In the same way, when we are tracking our lead measures, the ones we talked about before, this has really changed the way I look at things, because at the end of the week, now it stops, like, it's more concrete. The question I ask myself, Gabby, have you posted a video this week? Gabby, have you researched and prepared for the next video? Those are the actionable points. Me sitting down and watching a YouTube video about how to make money on YouTube, which is what I used to do in the past. Let's be honest, like, I would research and never do. Those are important, but they don't actually move me closer to where I want to go. So the final discipline is to have a cadence for accountability, to have accountability. Having a form of accountability, if you say you're going to do something, sometimes we don't do it. You probably just wake up and you're like, I don't feel like it. Or we have those modes and you're just having a low moment, and you get that season of what's the point, what. We have those moments. So accountability is what helps us keep in check. And this is how he explains. He says that it's important to do it on a weekly basis. Pick the day and pick the time so that it's consistent. And he says that try to keep it within 20 to 30 minutes, no more than that. So what do you talk about in this weekly accountability meeting? This time, in those 30 minutes, the intention is to, 1, look at your past targets, like the lead measures, what you said you would do last week. Did I say that I was going to record a video? Did I? Did I prepare for the video of next week? Did I learn a new way to edit? If those were my 3 goals of last week, agenda 1, did you do what you said you would do last week? And the second item on the agenda is to look at your scoreboard. How did you perform last week? And then what are the challenges that I faced when executing this goal? And how can I do better next week? Now, once you've gone through that, the next one, the third and the final one, is to plan for the next week. So now that I know how last week went, what am I going to do next week? In those 30 minutes, focus on that one goal that you set where you want to make a breakthrough. And when you do this on a weekly basis, you start to refine it. You may even find that the lead measures you set are actually not working and they're not effective, or you now have another way of applying it, keep changing it until you find what works for you, as long as you're focused on the goal that you're trying to make a breakthrough in. That is it. Those are his 4 disciplines. This book was written in the structure of an organization. Leaders creating systems that can be executed on, but that's how the book is written, in the form of leadership and organizations. What I'm sharing with you about this book is how I applied it to me. I don't have an organization when I think about Gabi, there's the Gabi in my head. There's the Gabi who makes the plans, who decides, okay, this is what we're going to do, and then there's the version of me that I now taking action, putting on the working outfits and executing. So I look at it as 2 different versions. So when I was reading this book, this is what I was keeping in mind. How can I apply it to the 2 sides of me? Now, if you're wondering how I'm able to remember all these points, when I read a book, first of all, I do hard copy. So I highlight in the book and I take notes. Then I put my takeaways into a commonplace notebook. This is a concept I learned from YouTube. It's basically a notebook where you write the points that you get from the books that you read. And it's a bit weird. It's like I'm in a classroom, I would read so many books, and then after some time, I don't remember what the book was about. I didn't take any action on it. It's when I started writing here that it started to click. When I would read the book and then I write, when I'm in a situation and I need to apply a concept from the book, my mind remembers, like those things of class. This is where I wrote the notes on this page over ink forward. So that's how I be feeling. That's how I take my notes. Yeah, that's how I do it.